to sum it up, I know these two builds you can invest heavily and it becomes tanky as. The point is it gets pushed as, and I've been told that by people that they have, without pretty much any investment, gone from league start to 8 mod T16s, corrupted maps, clearing it, earning hundreds of divines a play session. Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to discuss some of the rubbish, potentially, about I Shot Deadeye and Lightning Strike Slayer. Now, listen to what I'm going to say before you comment, because I know these are two very popular builds. These are two very popular builds that content creators create because they can make easy videos on which they just pump out. Now, these are two builds that get pushed as league starters, and with low investment you can get to T16s and start farming T16s to get currency to throw it all on your builds. And if you choose to, swap builds and play something else. Now, we'll start with the I Shot Deadeye. If you will look, it's up to level 90. Have a look at the effective health pool for one. You can take 5,746 damage. You are pretty much going to get KO'd by 90% of the content. That is T10 or above, pretty much will one-shot you of any major content. The tentacles of Eater, even Quest Eater, I think do 5,000, 6,000 damage. And the main boss one that's level 84 does like 8k. And clearly you're not going to survive Shaper. But this is the boss setup. Swapped out Mirage for Barrage. It does a total of 152 DPS. Now most bosses have in the millions of DPS in health pool, plus reductions to damage and everything, so you'll be taking forever to kill a lot of things. Now, the health pool is one thing. The other thing is that this is level 90, which you're probably not going to get unless you actually don't go above T5, T6s. And on top of that, you're not spell suppression capped. You're not evasion capped. And you obviously don't have armor pretty much because you're a evasion based Deadeye. Now, you're not even 100% chance to hit. This is obviously a very popular build. It's been popular for ages and a lot of things have done it. This particular one is a very popular one that gets thrown around and told to do by POE Vault, and other people have done the exact same thing and everything. And obviously resistance, all that, it all depends on gear. Pretty much the main build guides things, more than likely you're going to find just perfect pieces of jewelry and stuff on the builds which fix all that cap. They're not actually legit drops. Obviously you can go buy it, but it'll cost a fortune depending on the league. Now, if we have a look at, say, this top part of the tree. So what's that? We lose, it should tell me how many nodes we are on. 18 points. So that takes us down to 78. That's a fair level. If we take out 18 points, we will remove a total of 52,000 DPS, which in this case is about 1/3 of our damage. Our effective health pool that we'll take out is 575. So, 1/3 of our damage is coming from these nodes, and only 500 of our actual being able to get hit. So there is no defense actually on a lot of these builds. I know you put currency in, you get the OP items, you can build pretty much any skill gem to be OP. The point of this is that these get pushed as low currency investments, league starter, do T16, 8 modded map, clearing, earn your currency, either reinvest in the character as you go, or you switch to another character that costs a lot to start. Now we swap over to Lightning Strike, which is at the moment one of the most popular builds going around the internet and everything because of the high DPS chances. I personally, except for the ones that are just doing the campaign leveling, have not seen one build creator on YouTube or anything make a video where they aren't actually using end game mage bloods, things that cost like 50 to 100 divines. If you're doing the event, probably mirrors by now for some of the stuff. It's just getting crazy, some of the cost of stuff. But they say, oh, you can do it without this or that, but they never show it. That's one problem I have with the actual presentation of a lot of build creators, or people who just go on the internet, grab a build and then give it to a streamer or whatever, and then they made the build. That's why some of them don't work. Some of the big content creators, their builds don't actually work properly because they get it from a third party and don't see some of the issues with it. Other times they just miss-sank or things get changed. If we have a look at the effective hit pool for this, we have 24,000, which is a little better. And hopefully that car revving down the road wasn't too loud. But if we have a look, we're going to get one shot by physical. Chaos is, we're probably going to die by G-Gen more than a Chaos person, but a Chaos pack that is probably going to cause trouble. And Elemental is mainly because of the resistances. And spell suppression, we have 23%. Block chance, 41%. Damage reduction, 4%. Evade chance, 66%. So we have pretty much, let's round it all together and say we have no more than 50% of any sort of not taking much damage. So at least 50% of the time, we are going to cop between, what, say 2,000 for just a normal map boss that's like yellow maps. And then obviously it goes up as you get higher and higher. So pretty much a 2k strike from a physical, we can take like 3 hits. Our regen and this is at level 82. Our regen is about a third of our health, but that is obviously 104 regen, and leeching on hit is 1200. So every time we get hit, we only get half back. So we're not going to sustain, we're going to die. We're going to die in like 3 hits. And if they got haste or whatever aura, we're dead. Just boop, 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 dead. It's that quick. Now, the ability for both of these, very much Lightning Strike because of the way things have been changing and a lot of how some of the uniques and some of the changes they've made with the block and retaliate, all that. There is a whole different sort of spin on some of the builds, and it's becoming a broader spectrum that we can get into and use more. So the DPS on builds is going to just go up as the ability to use the mechanics and sort of get heads around everything goes. Now obviously this isn't retaliate, but we are still using a lot of the new sort of ways things work. Obviously, the duelist did get a overhaul from being pretty much a bow person, or a pretty much a bow. One of the strongest was obviously bow. There was the impale duelist and everything, but you could pretty much cap your bleed degen real easy before the change. But I digress. So if we have a look, we're at level 82, so we're about yellow maps, let's say. Yellow maps, we're getting killed in 3 shots from anything that takes physical. With elemental, we're surviving a little longer, but a lot of the game isn't actually just elemental. A lot of it is physical with elemental. Even like the Guardians, take Minotaur, he does physical with lightning. So we would die from the Minotaur's physical and survive his lightning. A lot of builds die because of the lightning, but have high physical reduction. That's why people have trouble with Minotaur, because he actually does duel. And that is the case for a lot of things that are in the game that are pinnacle or stepping stones. They do multiple types of damage and different layers of damage and penetrating damage. So the actual damage numbers might be small numbers, but they penetrate, they damage reduction, armor break type stuff. So you're actually taking a lot more hits than what the damage numbers say, as far as if you look up their POE DB or whatever that good info site is. So we are dead by yellow maps. We won't even reach yellow maps unless we actually get into more of the defensive side of this, and we might get to yellow maps and slightly into red because of the evade chance and the way we play and distance and all that. But as soon as something closes the distance, you won't be able to kill it quick enough to get it away from you, and you'll die from all this, or a degen will come flying at you and you'll die. Now, to sum it up, I know these two builds you can invest heavily and it becomes tanky as. For example, most of the builds on YouTube showing that they got mage bloods, they got a mirror worth of investment on their character, and they aren't necessarily clearing it as well as you would think a mirror character would. But whatever. But yeah, this is not the point. The point is it gets pushed as, and I've been told that by people that they have, without pretty much any investment, gone from league start to 8 mod, C16s, corrupted maps, clearing it, earning hundreds of divines a play session. Now, if you did that on this, you would die. If you did that on this, you would die. So either they're lying, or they are getting carried by someone else, or they're not actually playing it the way that this is set up, which means they're not playing the actual build, so their opinion is null and void. So more than likely they're either lying, or they're buying currency off a third party, or buying a build and then they don't actually know how much currency went into that build to actually set it up. So give me your opinion on these two as a league starter, low investment, pretty much start leveling, not necessarily as lightning strike or ice shot, because ice shot you can start early, but there is other stuff that works better. Lightning strike obviously you got to pick up later. But as a league starter, you start with X skill. By the time you reach, say, chapter Act 6, Act 7, you're switched over to this fully. From there to T16, 8 mod, corrupted maps, just flattening everything, map clearing, low investment. Show me the POB and gear of your character that can do it, not some made up POB like some of them have, that have god tier stuff, 6 linked, they got all the right stats, they got all the everything. You can't get that RNG without cheating or just putting in the POB to do it, or you got to craft it, which means you need currency, which means it's not low investment anymore unless you get lucky. So let me know what you think and where the actual currency investment level lies. Let's say a normal league, not this event, because this event's just made the currency go crazy. A normal event where let's say an enlightened is worth 3 div. I think that's about a normal league. A level 1 enlightened, I think before starting the event it was like 3 div. So let me know what you think of that investment level is, because it is not at 0 like it is pushed. So hit all those buttons and I'm sure I'm going to get some comments about my opinions, but goodbye.